Hey y'all, we are doing a lazy reading vlog today because I finally read. So obviously now I have to read the entire series. I'm really annoyed with myself that I didn't start this vlog when I started the first book. I had kind of picked it up on a whim. I've had this for over a year and I wanted to read it. I just haven't. So I needed a new book to read and I was like, okay, we're gonna do ACOTAR. Honestly, I wasn't very far into the book, maybe like a quarter of a way, and I had this moment where I'm like, this is the book that everyone is so excited about. Like, it's good, but I don't really get it. I don't know at what point in this that changed, but I've fully jumped on the bandwagon. I totally get why it's so popular. I've been shoving it down my friends, trying to get them to read it. I'm low-key obsessed. I didn't have the second book because I didn't think anything of it, but I had finished this Friday night. I had no way to get the second book and I had work Saturday. So Saturday morning I ran to the bookstore before I had to be into work and grabbed the second book. So anyway, even though I didn't vlog while I was reading this, I do want to talk about it because I had so many thoughts while reading it. You guys, if you don't want spoilers, this is not the video for you. I'm telling you right now, there will be major spoilers through this entire reading vlog. If you guys want a spoiler-free review, I'll go over these in my monthly wrap-up, so just watch out for those videos and you can hear some things about this book that won't ruin it for you before you actually read them. Okay, so first of all, I had major Beauty and the Beast vibes when I started reading this. The ending of it was totally left field, but I don't know if Beauty and the Beast was the intention behind this story, but that's all I could think about at the beginning. I loved Beauty and the Beast growing up, obviously because Belle was a Disney princess with brown hair and she was obsessed with reading, so I felt very close to her. Okay, my thoughts about this book. I love her writing. There were actually times where I was laughing out loud, and the night of the summer solstice is one of my favorite scenes ever written. It made me want summer so bad and to go out to a bonfire and just like listen to music with friends and dance and just like, forget everything. And of course Tamlin was so cute with her, which just makes me mad now, but anyway. Lucian became one of my favorite characters. Okay, first of all, I don't know if I'm gonna be saying any of their names correctly. I should actually look up how to pronounce them, but Lucian was one of my favorite. He kind of reminded me of Loki, minus what made Loki a bad guy, if that makes sense. I just thought he was a really adorable character. Like anytime Lucian was in trouble at the end, I would hold my breath. I was so convinced he was gonna die and not make it out from under the mountain. You guys, my heart was pounding. And now I really hope while I'm saying this that he doesn't die in one of the later books. Oh, I'll be so upset if that happens. If you've already read all of them, you know. Oh gosh, this is torture. Let me know if you're also a huge Lucian fan. I'm a little irritated that like, the whole curse was so specific. Why not just have a mortal girl who hates fairies fall in love with him? Like, I feel like that would have been enough. Feyre's trials, oh my gosh, this is gonna make me sound so nerdy, but they made me think of the Deltora quest books. Does anyone know what these are? I have found like one person who has read these books. I read them with my parents when I was younger and I was obsessed with them. Anyway, her trials straight up reminded me of Deltora Quest, and now I'm really curious if anyone else has read them and got the same vibe. I am having a whole issue with this whole Rysand thing. I've actually avoided like all spoilers on this series and I knew very little about it when I started reading it, but I have seen so many things on like Instagram and TikTok about Rysand. I'm probably butchering that name. And I know people love him. I haven't seen anything specifically about him, but from like the little glimpses I've caught with his name attached to it, I know he's going to be the love interest but the first half of this book made me love Tamlin so much. And then the second half, I was like, what is happening? I feel like there's a lot of stuff Rysand did that they can like backtrack and have a reason for and make him seem like not the bad guy. But the fact that he'd make her drink every night and like dance on his lap grosses me out, and I'm having a hard time. How are they gonna make that okay? I don't know. Amarantha's riddle, I totally did not guess what it was. To be fair, I read it the one time and I was like, oh, I'm not gonna be able to guess this, and I didn't think about it or try to guess it. I don't know if it would have made a difference if I had, but at the end when she like starts thinking through it, she like, says the first two lines or whatever, and I was like, oh my gosh, it's love, isn't it? And that's what it was. So I eventually got it. It just took me a minute, and I've seen a lot of people online be like, this was the easiest riddle ever, blah blah blah. So I'm feeling a little stupid about that, but please comment down below if you did not guess that riddle. Anyway, back to the whole Tamlin and Rysand situation. I was really irritated. Okay, Lucian comes to visit her in the cell, right? And I was like, didn't you realize that he's keeping quiet because he doesn't want Amarantha to know how to hurt you? And I understand that, but at the end, when she's like literally killing Feyre and Rysand's like doing everything he can to stop her, and Tamlin takes a beat and then starts just like begging for her life, but he's not really doing much. That irked me. That was the first point where I was like, okay, I'm really having an issue with Tamlin. And just some small thoughts, like I really love that Feyre got to go home and like, have this little moment with her sisters and her father where they were able to like work past some stuff, because they were really awful to her. I have problems with that, but I'm glad they were able to like come back together. And I really love friendship with Elise. Or Alice, I don't know how to say her name, but I really liked her from the beginning of her coming into the book. Anyway, so those are my thoughts on this one. I am sure there are things I forgot about, which makes me really wish I had started this vlog with this book, but it is what it is. I want to hear what you guys think about it, because I am dying to talk about this. Okay, I got to chapter 12 yesterday and I had to stop reading it because I was so frustrated with Tamlin and Feyre. I get that Feyre, I get why she wouldn't be able to let go of Tamlin, because she like sacrificed her life for him and like literally killed 2 Fae for him after the trials and everything. I can see not wanting to give up on him, and I can see why he acts the way he does too, because he's scared for her. Like he wasn't able to protect her, which I have other issues about, but I'm gonna keep reading because I've been dying to find out what happens next. I was just so frustrated yesterday. I like slammed my book down and was like, I am not reading any more of this tonight. We are reading the second book today. I'm on chapter 19. I have a couple thoughts. First of all, Tamlin, come on. I just want to say it's not lost on me that Rhys showed up at the wedding because Feyre wanted to be saved. But I'm at the point where Tamlin had just locked her inside the house. Rhys comes to the rescue again, and she's now like living in the night court, has decided to work with Rhys's inner circle. And the scene where she wakes up from her nightmare and Rhys is there and helps her through it and like holds her hair for her while she's throwing up, just like Tamlin should have done, and he wasn't there for her. I'm still so annoyed with him. Like I was so in love with him in the first half of ACOTAR, and like I feel very betrayed. I love that he calls her Feyre darling in like casual conversation. Why is that so cute? Okay, page 296. I had done everything for that love. I had ripped myself to shreds. I had killed innocence and debased myself, and he had sat beside Amarantha on that throne. And when Amarantha had broken me, when she had snapped my bones and made my blood boil in its veins, he just knelt and begged her. He hadn't tried to kill her, hadn't crawled for me. Yes, he had fought for me, but I had fought harder for him. I'm so angry with Tamlin, and that she said it way better than I ever could. Rise being jealous that she's smiling at Tarquin. Why is that the cutest thing? I feel like Feyre saying she just wants to have a physical relationship with Rysand is so stupid. Like, obviously you have feelings for him. To take out your anger with Tamlin on Lucien. Lucien tried with Tamlin. It's not his fault that Tamlin like locked her away. So it's not fair to take your anger out on him. He was just trying to help. I have a soft spot for him. I don't know what it is, but she was so mean to him. She's such a tease. Like, I'm just dying for them to kiss already. Like, what's it gonna take? They're at the ball. Is that not enough? I don't know if we were supposed to like the whole scene where they're in the court of nightmares and her and Rise have that little like moment together, because I can't get over the fact they still haven't had a conversation over the fact that he was making her get drunk and dance for him when they were under the mountain. Did I miss that somewhere? I need an explanation because I can't move on until I get one. Like, that whole thing just disturbs me so much, and I'm really starting to fall for Rice, but I can't get that out of my head. I'm confused at why it hasn't come up. I don't think I could fall in love with someone who did that and didn't even like say, hey, this is why I did it. I don't know. I'm having a hard time with it. I love the moment though where Rise is having his nightmare and she goes in the bedroom and he pins her down and she has to wake him up. I'm gonna be honest, I'm a little disappointed that Feyre and Rysand didn't have this big magical kiss. They like fooled around in the Court of Nightmares and then they fooled around in that inn, and I'm just not satisfied with that. I wanted some big movie magic kiss. Also, Rysand briefly makes a comment about how he had to keep her alive without it seeming like he was being merciful. So I guess that's his whole explanation for getting her drunk and making her dance. I just wish there had been more of a conversation about that, I guess. I don't know, maybe there will still be one. I also don't really get why Feyre was so pissed finding out that Rice was her mate. Like, to blow him off as he's like half dying in the mud and leaving for a couple of days. I don't know. I just like give the guy a little bit of a break. I understand being like irritated, but like have a conversation with him. I would be more like, why? Like, I need answers instead of just storming off. Anyway, I just finished getting ready for work, so I better get out of here. And also, I'm excited to read the rest of this book. I'm so close to being done, and then I really need to go grab the third book. I'm sorry for not believing the entire internet about Rysand. I finished Mist and Fury and I have some thoughts about it. First of all, Rye's explanation of like everything literally had me crying. That's so embarrassing. I don't know what it was about it. I read that part while I was on lunch at work and I was seriously trying to keep myself together so I could finish my shift. I love the fact that she painted the stars on her dresser was because he had pushed the image through to her through their like bond. It was just like a full circle moment and I thought it was the sweetest thing ever. But also, Tamlin is insane. I felt like he was a bit much at the beginning, like locking her up and stuff, but the fact that he's working with, oh gosh, what's his name? The King of Hybern or whatever, just to get her back, he's crazy. He'll just like believe her little story of being under Rye's like spell. He's so delusional. He wants to be with her so bad. He's willing to not see the truth. I don't know. He's crazy. I'm not sure how to feel about Lucian and her sister Elaine being each other's mates. I don't know if I love that it's like such a coincidence that those two would end up together. But when Feyre asked for her bond to be broken with Rhys and his reaction, oh my gosh, I was freaking out. That was a full like scream at the book moment. Like I get why she did it, but it was so heartbreaking. You guys, I finally started reading the third book. I couldn't stop. I'm at chapter 23 and I haven't said anything about it so far, other than I have a feeling that A Court of Mist and Fury is going to end up being my favorite out of this series. Maybe it's way too early to say that because I'm only on the third book. I'm not even halfway through and I obviously haven't read the last two, so I'm just so glad that Feyre got out of the Spring Court. I was expecting more to happen with that whole thing, but I mean, it was pretty low-key. But I can't help myself but just pity Tamlin just like the teeniest tiny bit. Don't get me wrong, I do not think she should be with him. I think she made the right choice getting away from him, obviously. But that doesn't mean I can't still like feel bad for him just a little bit. He's such an idiot. But also, I feel like they need to go a little easier on Lucian because Lucian, along with everyone else, thinks Rhys is the bad guy, which is exactly what Rhysand wanted everyone to think anyway. So like, can he really blame him for wanting to keep Feyre away from him? Also, I'm so sorry because I was totally pronouncing Rhysand's name wrong. I think I'm pronouncing it correctly now. I guess I'm still not even really sure, but I know it's probably gonna drive you all crazy for the first half of this vlog, just me saying the wrong name over and over again. So really sorry about that. I'm starting to think that Elaine might be like a fortune teller or something like that. Or I could be way off base and she could just be like crazy. I don't know. I was totally right. Elaine is a seer, which means Cassian is totally gonna die. Didn't she like make a comment about Cassian being the one who got like his wings torn off? And he's like, it's gonna take a lot more than that to kill me. And she's like, no, it won't. Oh, I don't like this. I can't find it, but I swear that happened. I just read the chapter where the summer court is attacked, like randomly in the middle of the day. Like, I know they were preparing for war, but then it just like happened out of the blue and they weren't expecting it. And I was just thinking how terrifying that would be. The fact that Rhysand wakes up to help Feyre with her dreams when Tamlin would just like sleep through them or pretend to sleep through them anyway. He's just the best. Guys, I'm a little over halfway in this book and I'm not really sure how I feel about it. I really loved the first 3 books and then the last 2 have been kind of hard for me to get through. To be honest, I don't know if I'm crazy about Cassian and Nesta's relationship. I do find them pretty cute when they're getting along and being sweet and flirty. I like them more. I loved the whole enemies to lovers with Feyre and Rhysand. Something about it was super cute and like super hot, but like Nesta and Cassian just annoy me when they don't get along for some reason. And also, can we talk about the spice in this book? It is probably smuttier than I really like in a book. And I think that's what a lot of people liked about this, but I felt it was like out of 30% in the other books and then it went up to 100 in this book. I like light smut, but that was very aggressive, I feel like. I do love that Nesta is growing though, because her character has totally sucked through the series. So I like that they're explaining more why she is the way she is, and I like that she's having this growth. It definitely makes me like her more as a character, and plus her friendship with Emery and Gwen is just the best. I love when females come together. I feel like so many stories pit women together, so I really love when they have one where they're like strong female characters coming together. But it can't be forced either. I hate when it's just there to like make a statement, if that makes sense. Like, I want it to make a statement without that being your purpose. But also, I totally know they needed to have this little intervention with Nesta, but I was kind of on her side. I was so annoyed with them for like ganging up against her and being like, you're gonna do what you tell us to, because I'm like, she's an adult. Like, I would be pissed if someone was like, you can't live in this place that you picked and you want to be in. You have to live where we tell you to, and you can only go and do the things we tell you to. She definitely needed it, but I was like frustrated for her. Plus, I feel like Feyre got a lot of grace when she was working through her trauma and stuff, and they're not as forgiving with Nesta, which like I kind of get because she has been kind of an awful person, but there are also reasons why she is the way she is. And they're not as forgiving with her, which also irritated me a little bit. I don't know. My only other complaint though is I don't feel like I've had any closure with the whole Tamlin and Lucien and Feyre dynamic. Like, I want more of that story, and I also just need more Rhysand. Like, what's the point of any of these books if Rhysand is not involved? And he's not in it enough, not for my liking. So I can't imagine anything will change by the end here, but you guys, I finally finished the ACOTAR series, and I don't even know what to think about it. I did not go into this last book expecting the house to be my favorite character, but it was. Also, the Kelpie, I think that's how you say it, that drags Nesta into the lake was probably the scariest character I've read in this series. I don't know why the description scared me as bad as it did. I don't know if it's because it reminds me a little, just a little bit of Slender Man, and I was in high school while that was first coming out and everyone was terrified of him, but know that Kelpie was like just actually made my heart pump like crazy, and I was getting nervous while I'm reading this in my living room. I've also realized that I'm kind of like Nesta, which I don't love saying because she is not my favorite character, but as far as the love and the passion for reading and dancing, I am not like a professional dancer like she is described to be, but it's something that I've loved my entire life. More so the fact that she can hold a grudge. I get very defensive when people are mean to me or those that I love, and I can hold on to that, which is not the best trait, but hey, I'm a Libra and we're all about justice, right? I think that's our thing, but I can definitely be mean back if you're mean to me. So I kind of understood the whole issue with everything that happened with Feyre, and Nesta was being so stubborn because she was so angry with her dad for not like stepping up and being their father. Totally understand. I am not satisfied with the last two books because I need some closure with not only the whole Tamlin situation, but also everything with Lucian and Azriel and Elaine. We didn't get any answers for any of that, and I need answers. Any chance she's coming out with a 5th book for the series? But also, I just need a whole Lucian spinoff, honestly. And there was not nearly enough Rhysand in this book. I am so unsatisfied with the fact that we get very little from him. The whole ending, the second to last chapter, I think it was, with the baby and Feyre and Nesta and Rhysand, that whole situation almost had me in tears. In all, I'm really happy with how it ended, especially with Ness and Cassian, but Sarah J. Maas really made you sweat it out at the end there. I swear things are still happening down to literally the last chapters, and I was freaking out that it was gonna be some horrible ending and they were all gonna die. Also, the last bit of this book felt very Hunger Gamesy to me, which I loved because Hunger Games has been one of my longtime standing favorite series. So that was just a lot of fun to read about Nesta and Emery and Gwen going through the blood rite or whatever the heck it's called. Anyway, this has been so much fun. I adore this series, mainly books 1, 2, and 3. And a little bit of the last one. I am curious which books are your favorite. Do any of you feel like we need some more from the story? As always, you can keep up with me and what I'm reading on my Instagram. Make sure to like this video and subscribe. And I think that's everything. I hope to see you next Wednesday.